Hey everyone, I'm Mind, and this is set number 80051, a Monkey Kid's mini-mech from the LEGO Monkie Kid theme. This is an all-new 2024 set which contains 556 pieces, 1 minifigure, and retails for $54.99 in the US. If you want to see more of my 2024 Monkey Kid reviews after this one, go check out my playlist in the pinned comment or in the description. And now, with all that being said, let's get into the review. So here's Monkey Kid's mini-mech, and as the name of the set may suggest, this is pretty much a downscaled version of the Monkey King Warrior mech, which we've gotten twice so far. We had the original version, and then we had the Monkey King Ultra Mech? I forget the name of that one, but yeah, it came out last year. And this uses a very similar aesthetic, just a lot smaller. The face is very similar to the other two, and honestly, so is the torso, just the arms and legs are a lot smaller. And then there's also this build of a cloud that it's standing on. Now, it actually detaches from the cloud super easily, so we're going to take a look at the actual mech first, and then we'll take a look at the cloud. So here's what the mini-mech looks like removed. Starting on the feet of the mech, visually, I think they're fine. Got some stickers on some neck-to-net shield pieces, which is nice to see. I do like getting gold lacquered pieces, those come in lots of Monkey Kid sets, but always nice to see. And there's like little thrusters around the back, which is a fun touch. Then the legs use the Ninjago SCCBS armor pieces. Very happy to see that. Monkey Kid embraces that piece a lot more than other themes do, and it's just an amazing part. And there's yet another sticker piece on each knee. However, these legs I really don't like. I get it, it's a scaled-down mech, it's meant to be a small mech, but it didn't have to be this small. I do feel like these legs should be like twice the size that they are. Compare this to like the $20 Ninjago mechs of this wave. Those mechs are significantly smaller than this, but the legs are a lot bigger and there's a lot more to them. These feel very basic, and honestly it's a quite antiquated design. Just two ball joint sockets back to back. I wish there was more shaping in there and it wasn't just a straight beam. But beyond that though, the posability is not great. The actual leg does have a pretty good range of motion, like you can move it all around, but the foot has absolutely nothing. Let's see if I can show you. Side to side, this is all you get. Like, you get a very little bit, but it's hardly anything that matters. And forward to back is pretty much about the same. It's maybe a little bit more, but both are like absolutely negligible. Like, that is very bad posability. So that makes the entire mech a little annoying to pose, because there's really not much you can do with the legs at all. Pretty much you can either flip an entire leg in the air or have both legs on the ground. Not much in between, and then you just move the entire torso at the waist, rather than moving each leg individually. That's a little frustrating to say the least. Definitely something that if you got this set I would upgrade if I were you, because yeah, that's disappointing. The other thing is the legs seem very small, and again, I know it's a mini-mech, but especially when compared to the scale of the torso, the entire torso is like twice the size of the legs. Like, I really think you could make a mini-mech and make the legs a little bit bigger. I don't know, it just feels off to me. The torso itself, though, is quite good. I like these big triangular pieces and the heart pieces up top. Definitely feels like a very classic Monkey Kid aesthetic. The head at the top is unsurprisingly incredible. It connects on in a mini ball joint, and there's a pretty big range of motion there. You can move that thing all around. So that's a ton of personality you can get out of the mech just by moving it. I will say the head's a little bit heavy compared to the friction on the ball joint, so whenever you move it, it doesn't feel super stable. That being said, I haven't really had it fall down on me. It's just super easy to accidentally nudge out of place. So something to be aware of, but honestly not a huge deal. There is two tassels coming off the back of the head, just like the bigger mechs use. And once again, they use those red tentacle pieces. They use the 2023 mech finger pieces here to be like a crown. I think that looks great. And these printed eye pieces I think are similar to the old ones in the big mech, but maybe a slightly different print. And then the nose is still stickered as always. The torso of the mech doesn't open up or anything. You just have to place a minifigure inside the top. But you can see there's room in there to fit a minifigure. Not sure how well you can see, but you slot Monkey Kid's feet into that brown piece at the bottom. So real quick, let me do it just to show you. Flop him in there like this. There we go. Put his hands down, move the head down, and there we go, that's Monkey Kid actually in the mini-mech. I actually quite like how that looks. You can see it peeking out from the windshield. He's not completely hidden, but he's also not super obvious either. The mech does feel like it's completely enclosing him. That's very cool, actually. The mech has these metallic foil flags coming off of it, which these are always cool to get. They're a very iconic part of Monkey Kid's imagery. So many sets use like similar things to this, so it makes sense to be included here. And then the arms also connect on with rigid Technic joints. These, I will say, are a little bit better than the legs. They feel a little bit bigger, and also I feel like the posability is better. I guess this is something I didn't mention with the legs, but yeah, those are ball joints, these are rigid Technic joints, and these just feel so much more stable because you move it and it locks in place. Because this build's so top heavy, the legs just using ball joints feel super insecure. Like, if you're trying to move the arms around, you're gonna move the legs instead, because there's way more friction in the arms than there is in the legs, and I feel like that should be the opposite way around. That shouldn't be too difficult of a modification to make if you have extra parts from your own collection, but it doesn't come like that by default, and that's just disappointing, I guess. There is a nice amount of bulk to the arms though. This armor right here flips up, and the hands connect on a small mixel joint. Not a huge range of motion there, but you can get a little bit out of it. And you can see there's 3 fingers and a thumb right here, as well as a clip in the center of the hand hold onto an accessory, so you can move each of those fingers individually as well as move the thumb down. The other arm's exactly the same, except it actually holds the staff, and the staff has a nice design to it. We've gotten similar builds in many other Monkey Kid sets, but they use these rounded pieces at the top, and there's still a bar connection at the middle so the mech can hold on to it. And of course I just removed it so you can give it to a minifigure if you want them to have like a really oversized staff, or anything else in your collection, but of course it's made to clip in right here. Around the back, there is a few stickered pieces, which I appreciate. It helps make the back feel a little extra detailed. It's not just like the part they forgot about. And there's also a little monkey tail back here too, which is a pretty iconic part of the bigger Monkey King Warrior mechs. So I'm happy to see it's still incorporated here. And I think that's about all I got for the main build of this mech. So now let's take a look at the cloud that he's supposed to ride on. Now this is probably the part of this that I was most excited for, because the cloud's a pretty big part of Monkey Kid imagery and just like Journey to the West, the Monkey King legend. The cloud that Monkey King rides on is pretty important. And we've gotten small versions of this before, but we've never gotten a big version, so I was really looking forward to this. But just like the main Monkey Kid mech, like I think there's potential to customize this and make it really good, but the base form leaves a little bit to be desired. The actual shaping around the sides I think is fantastic. It looks very fluffy, very full. It still feels quite Lego-like while also being very rounded, and it looks good for pretty much all sides. There's studs at the top to fit minifigures or the mech in this set, but what I really don't like is the colors used here, because yeah, you can see they use other colors on the inside of this build, which lots of Lego sets do, and I'm fine with that. It makes them easier to build, but those colors really should get covered up if they're not meant to show in the final build. This is a cloud, it's meant to be entirely white, but you can see we've got blue right there, teal right there, tan right there. Around the sides, got a little bit of teal and blue peeking out the bottom, as well as some orange right there. And flipping it over, you can see a ton of colors. This I don't mind as much because this is underneath. I still would prefer for all of that to be white, but it's not nearly as bad as the sides and the top. Because yeah, this is how you're going to be looking at it most of the time. That really should be a bit better, because that's very disappointing to see. And then the way the mech actually connects to the build is just like most other things in the set, a little bit underwhelming. You place one foot down on these studs right here, the other foot loosely to the side right here, and there you go, there's the mech riding the cloud. But as I mentioned, the posability options on the legs aren't the best, so there's really not a ton you can do with this. The platform with the studs can rotate, so you do have a few more options, but because this mech's so top heavy and there's no like rigid joints here, it is just ball joints, and you only connect it on to 4 studs. If you're trying to pose this on the cloud, it comes off all the time. Like, it's very easy to just pop off like that. So it just makes it not that fun to actually play with, in my opinion. If you just put it on the shelf and never touch it again, I think it could be fine if you cover up all those exposed colors. But for play, I do think it's really lacking. So all around, I'm fairly underwhelmed by this set. I think there's a lot of fun ideas here. Like, I like the idea of getting a Monkey King Warrior mech in a smaller scale for cheap, but there's a lot of things that need to be improved. There are really good aspects of the build. I think the arms are perfectly fine, the head's fantastic, the torso's fantastic, but those legs need a bit of work, the cloud could be fixed up a little bit, and well, I'll talk about all of that a little bit more at the end of this video, but we do have one more thing to look at with this set, and that's of course the minifigure that it comes with. So here's the one and only minifigure in this set, the new version of Monkey Kid. And yes, that's right, there is only one minifigure in this set for some reason. Don't ask me why that is, I don't know what's happening there. But it's this all-new mech pilot suit for Monkey Kid. I don't know if that's the official name for this suit, but that's what I'm calling it. It's the name of the new Ninjago ninja suits for this wave, and both May and Monkey Kid get this outfit in this wave, and it's in both of their mech sets, so I'm gonna call it the mech pilot suit. And I will say it is a very cool minifigure. I love these new shoulder pads, somewhat reminiscent of like the 2012 Ninjago armor, though of course a little bit different because this guy actually has little dragons on there. You can see their horns at the top, the little noses. That is super cute and very, very cool. It helps make this figure feel extra unique. The light print on the new May and the new Monkey Kid is shared. Here's a look at the May figure for reference. So they both use this white and teal color scheme, which I will say with Monkey Kid that works well because that is one of his main colors that he's always used. Red and white does look quite good. I don't think it's as cool as May's color scheme, but of course they're different characters. They're going to have different color schemes. However, the bright orange being incorporated here, I don't know how I feel about that. Of course, again, that's one of Monkey Kid's main colors, but it does feel like maybe a little bit too much. I think I would have preferred if they leaned more heavily into the red and just done red, teal, and white and not incorporated the bright orange, but it's not that bad, it's fine. And I think it's cool that there's almost like a little monkey or dragon nose at the top right there. That's a very cool touch. Around the back, there is no bright orange. They do lean more heavily into the red, and I think that does look a lot cooler. The golden spine going down the back's pretty cool. Again, I think the May suit does that better. It's just a lot more intense on her, but I think both work well, and I appreciate that they're not just recolors. They do have unique designs for their suits. And then finally, the face print of Monkey Kid, I'm pretty sure is not new. Again, I can never tell because Monkey Kid does this thing where they'll have basically the same face print but switch a very small thing around. So I can't tell you if that's the case here, but of course the one side he's got the red face paint, the other side he's got a more stern expression, but both faces fit Monkey Kid pretty well. So yeah, good minifigure, happy to get him here. I just wish it wasn't the only one in this set, because yeah, this is a $55 set. There's not a single villain in here or a single other minifigure at all. That is very, very silly. But hey, the one we do get's pretty good. I appreciate that at the very least. So overall, would I recommend this set? Honestly, no, probably not. And that's a shame, because I do like this set in theory, but I feel like in execution it leaves a lot to be desired. If you guys have been watching my channel recently, you'll know there's a lot of LEGO mechs this year. I think probably 15 of my last 20 videos are about mechs. That's how many there are this year. So there's no shortage of mechs to buy on the shelves. And I have to say, of all the ones I've covered this year, this is probably my least favorite. I might dislike the Marvel ones more than this, but honestly, I think I might prefer the Marvel ones to this, which is very sad because I don't really like the Marvel ones. But like, there is some cool aesthetics here. I like the whole Monkey King Warrior mech thing. And if you don't have one of the bigger warrior mechs, I like the idea of being able to get a smaller one for cheaper. But unless you're planning on modifying this, honestly, it's not worth it. And let's not act like this is super cheap either. This is $55. Like, that's still a good chunk of money. And it is 550 pieces, so it doesn't sound like the worst price. But it only comes with one minifigure, who I'm pretty sure only has one exclusive part, right? The torso, the head, the hair, the armor, and the legs all come in other sets. So honestly, I'd really only recommend this set if you're planning on modifying it, or if you're a super big Monkey Kid fan and you just want everything Monkey Kid. But at that point, it probably doesn't matter what I say, you're just getting it anyway, right? But yeah, if you have the disposable income to buy like a slightly more expensive set and you're okay with modifying it a little bit, I do think you could turn this set into something pretty good. But in its base form for $55, I just think there's better options on the market right now. But of course, those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think of this set in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like on it, subscribe to my channel if you're new, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!